Hi, my name is Xavier Carrera Gimbert. I'm a full stack web developer with over 10 years of experience, and this is my video curriculum. The objective of this video is so you know me a little bit better. So if you're considering hiring me, you know a little bit better who I am. And if you are simply curious of who I am, so you know a little bit better my life. So there we go. I will try to keep it short. I will talk a little bit about my background. I will talk a little bit about my skills and my core values. So again, you have a better idea of who I am. Okay, so let's start. I started around 10 years ago and I started building some websites for local businesses, family businesses, and some, you know, businesses in my city. It was a good experience. I started working with PHP, MySQL, Linux, Apache, the old stack, and jQuery on the front. And a couple years later, I think I switched to React. I don't miss the old days. I think React is a very good tool, and the modern JavaScript stack is very powerful. So yeah, I'm happy I moved forward and I evolved. So after the couple of years as a consultant for local companies, I became an employee, but I also continue my work as a consultant, but this time with a more modern stack. In the front end, React. In the back end, Next, Nest, Node, Express, Prisma, Postgres. The old JavaScript stack. The new JavaScript stack, I mean. And yeah, that is my main stack until today. Like TypeScript, HTML, CSS, of course, Tailwind, Material UI, Bootstrap. It's been a lot of years, so I've used a lot of tools, but I think you get an idea. So yeah, I've been working as a developer ever since, and I've worked again in both companies as a consultant. My job basically is to develop features, solve bugs, but also I do a lot of product work and a lot of team leading. I've been a team lead since the beginning because my first experiences with were startups. So you need to lead the team. So you need to help people, you need to teach people, you need someone to get the initiative. And I like to take the initiative because I like my work and I like it to be done how I consider properly. So yeah. So yeah, I became a team lead since the very beginning, and also an architect because again, especially when you're a solo developer and you have a guy that wants a website built, you need to design the system. So yeah, I became a team lead and architect since the beginning, and yeah, that would be my story. And okay, so let me tell you a little bit about what I consider to be my values. So my values would be first, problems are not real problems. The unwillingness to solve the problems is the real issue. We live in a world with a lot of tools, especially now with AI, and I think 90% of the problems I faced, again, were problems because people didn't want to acknowledge that there was a problem. So if you acknowledge there's a problem and you understand that there's a problem, you already have a lot in your plate. You already are progressing a lot because now you can take action to solve the problem. And if you have a flexible mind and if you have an open mind and if you're willing to receive and give feedback, I think you have the correct mindset to solve the issue. And you may be, well, Jagger, but you're a developer. You also have a lot of developing problems. Yes, I also found a lot of coding issues. But really, I think that the biggest problems I have faced in my life as a professional were problems regarding, not wanting to acknowledge that there's an issue, which is far more common than what you would expect. Even with me, sometimes I also get tunnel vision. That's why I've learned to ask for help. So yeah, there would be one principle that problems are not real problems. The unwillingness to solve them is. A second principle would be uh, you have to be humble, and especially as a team lead, you have to understand that you don't know everything. So you have to listen a lot and you don't have to impose. Fortunately, we live in a field, we work in a field that is development, coding, that is extremely creative. And when you're working with creative people, you don't want to be overly uh, strict in your orders. You don't want to simply give orders and don't be willing to listen. You don't want to have a very fixed hierarchy. The reason is because you want people to be free, to be creative, and you cannot have full control of the people. So even if you want full control, you are not going to have full control. Developing again is a creative thing. So if you don't acknowledge that it's a creative thing and you're not willing to Um, Explore this creativity and handle all the issues that come with a creative field, you're going to end up with a dead project. What do I mean by this? If you're a team lead, be willing to listen, be willing to get feedback, be willing to understand what the real issue is, which is something I already said in my first point, and be willing to learn. It's coding is, as a team lead, I constantly learning. I think that's something positive. Some people may say that I'm being too like happy because at the end of the day you do have to give orders, and I fully agree. But again, you always have to have an open mind, and you have to be willing to listen. It's extremely crucial. If you don't, you're gonna end up with a dead project. I don't think you should be a team lead in this in coding if you simply want to give orders and you're not willing to listen. Again, I think it's a very good road to complete failure. Okay, so that would be my second point. And let me try to think of a third one if I have. Um, yeah, okay, I have a third one. My third point is don't assume success. What do I mean by this? A lot of people, especially like startup founders, come to me and say, hey, I have a great idea. It's going to be a success. Probably will not. So failure is guaranteed, success is not. So every time you have to handle a problem, know that you're going to fail, at least at some point. So be prepared for that. So when you give a deadline, give a big buffer. When you handle a problem, when you handle a new project, know that you're going to face the unexpected. Even if you don't think you're going to face it, you are going to face it. So be conservative. So instead of starting with a very pharaonic, distributed architecture with, I don't know, hundreds of microservices, maybe start with a monolith. Instead of the most AI first, dynamic, whatever, maybe keep it simple. Maybe use the tools that you already know. Don't have fear of missing out. Again, it's important to know that failure is guaranteed, success is not. So be conservative. So every time I had to be a team lead or an architect, I have taken this into consideration, especially these last years. And I think it has worked wonders because once you have an MVP, people have realized what were the real limitations, not the things that we had in our head and we thought that were the real limitations, but what was the real limitation. And we could work with it and we could find a solution. So that would be my third point. Avoid pharaonic projects and know that you're going to fail. So take that into consideration and plan ahead. Okay, so that has been my video curriculum. Now you see that I'm a real person. Maybe you found me on LinkedIn, maybe you found my website, maybe someone sent you this video. I don't know. Maybe you already know me. So in this case, hello, you already know me. Glad to see you again. And now you know that I'm not an AI creature, you see? Fully human, not built by Anthropic or whatever, or Microsoft or whatever. So yeah, so that has been my video curriculum. Thanks for watching it. Hope you have a great day. And if you want to contact me, take a look at the description. I send you a big kiss, a big hug, and hope I see you soon. Ciao, ciao.